The sound of my mother's voice through the phone should have been my first warning. There was something off about her tone, a carefully manufactured casualness that immediately put me on edge. "Kara, darling, could you come by the Penthouse this afternoon? I need to talk to you about something. Is everything okay?" I was sitting at my desk in the building's management office, 3 floors below the Penthouse, going over maintenance reports. The afternoon sun was slanting through the windows, and outside, Dallas was baking in late July heat. "Everything's fine. Just a family matter." A pause. "Bring your key. I think you left the kitchen window open last week, and the AC has been running non-stop." I hadn't left any window open. I knew it. She knew it. But I said, sure, Mom. I'll be up in 20 minutes. I hung up and sat very still for a moment. Diane Whitfield didn't call for casual chats. She called when she wanted something, and the more casual she sounded, the more she wanted. I took the service elevator up to the 32nd floor. The doors opened into the private vestibule of Penthouse 3000, and the first thing I heard was the scrape of cardboard on hardwood. The front door was propped open. I walked in and stopped. There were boxes everywhere, stacked against the floor-to-ceiling windows, lined up along the hallway, piled in the living room where my leather sofa used to be. Wait, where was my sofa? A moving blanket was draped over something large in the corner, and 2 men I didn't recognize were carrying my dining table toward the balcony. Ashley was in the middle of it all, directing traffic like she owned the place. She was wearing her favorite linen dress, the one she saved for brunch at the Dallas Country Club, and her hair was blown out and shiny. She saw me and smiled, not warmly, but the way you smile at someone who's arrived at a party you didn't invite them to. "Kara." Perfect timing. "Can you tell these guys where the master closet is? I want my shoe wall set up first." I stared at her. "Your shoe wall?" "Yeah. Mom said it's fine. She's in the kitchen." I walked past her, through the boxes, into the kitchen. Diane was at the counter making tea, like this was any ordinary Tuesday afternoon. She looked up and smiled. "There you are. I was just telling Ashley. The Penthouse is perfect for her. Trevor's lease is up at the end of the month, and their apartment is just too small for a couple about to start a family. And honestly, Kara, you're barely here. You travel so much for work." She set down the teapot. "Ashley needs this place more than you do." I looked at her. I looked at the boxes. I looked at the moving men carrying my grandmother's china cabinet toward the door, and then I smiled. It was the kind of smile I'd learned from her, actually. The one that doesn't reach the eyes. The one that says everything is fine when it absolutely is not. "Mom," I said, pulling my phone from my pocket. "You're right. I should have handled this sooner." I dialed the building's front desk. Marcus picked up on the first ring. "Marcus, it's Kara. I need security up at Penthouse 3000 immediately." A pause. "Yes, this is the owner of Meridian Towers, and I have trespassers in my home." I hung up. The kitchen was very quiet. The moving men had stopped in the doorway, holding the china cabinet between them, looking confused. Ashley had gone still in the living room. Diane's hand was still wrapped around the teapot, but her knuckles had gone white. "Kara," she said, and her voice was thinner now, the casualness gone. "What are you doing?" "I'm calling security, Mom, because you're in my home without permission. You've moved your daughter into my bedroom, and you're having my furniture removed. That's trespassing. That's theft. This is family property. It's my property. Dad left it to me. You know that. You've known it for 2 years." I kept my voice even. "You just chose not to believe it." The elevator chimed. Marcus appeared in the kitchen doorway with 2 security guards. He was wearing his standard navy blazer, his expression professionally neutral, but I saw the flicker of something in his eyes. Surprise, maybe, or quiet satisfaction. "Ms. Whitfield," he said, addressing me. "Is there a problem?" "There is. These people are in my home without authorization. I'd like them removed, and I'd like an inventory taken of everything that's been moved or damaged." Marcus nodded. He turned to Diane. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you and your daughter and the moving crew to leave the premises." Diane's face went pale. Not the delicate, becoming pallor she'd perfected over years of country club luncheons. Real pale. The color drained out of her cheeks and lips, and for a second she looked like a woman who'd just watched the ground open up beneath her feet. "Kara," she said, and her voice cracked. "You wouldn't. Not your own mother." I looked at her. I thought about the 2 years of silence. The 2 years of letting her tell people I was staying in the Penthouse temporarily. The 2 years of biting my tongue at family dinners while she complained about managing the building like it was hers. "I would, Mom," I said. "And I am." Ashley spoke from the living room. Her voice was small. "Kara, where am I supposed to go?" I didn't answer. I didn't have an answer. Not yet. The security guards escorted Diane and Ashley out. The moving men were told to put everything back where they'd found it. Marcus stayed behind, helping me survey the damage. A scratched floorboard, a chipped corner on the bar counter, my sofa pushed against a wall. When he was done, he stood by the door. "You okay?" I looked around the Penthouse. Boxes everywhere. My life, unpacked and rearranged by people who'd never asked. The Dallas skyline glittered beyond the windows, indifferent to any of it. "I will be," I said. Marcus nodded and left. I stood alone in the middle of my living room, surrounded by the wreckage of an afternoon, and I thought, this is only the beginning. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You're making a huge mistake. Call me." Mom, I set the phone on the counter and didn't call. The locksmith came at 9 the next morning. Kara watched him change every lock in Penthouse 3000, front door, service door, even the private elevator access, and handed her a new key fob while the old ones went into a magnetic demagnetizer on his truck. "Want me to change the building master too?" he asked. "Not yet," Kara said, "but put a note on the account. No one but me authorizes lock changes from now on." She spent the rest of the morning going through the boxes. Most of them were Ashley's. Clothes, shoes, kitchenware she'd registered for at Crate and Barrel. Kara stacked them neatly by the service elevator and texted Marcus, "Have these moved to storage. Unit 4B in the basement. Don't tell Diane." By noon the penthouse was back to normal. The sofa was where it belonged. The china cabinet was back against the wall. The scratched floorboard would need refinishing, but that was a problem for another day. Her phone had been buzzing since 7. First Diane, 7 missed calls. Then her Aunt Margaret. Then her cousin Lisa. Then a woman from the Dallas Women's League who Kara had met exactly once. She silenced the ringer and made coffee. Priya showed up at 1 with takeout from a Thai place on McKinney and a manila folder under her arm. She set the food on the counter and looked around. "Nice place. You ever think about, I don't know, inviting people up here?" "I invite people up here. You invite me up here. And Marcus." "That's it." Priya sat down and opened a container of pad thai. "Your mother's been calling everyone. She says you locked her out of the family home and threw Ashley's things in the street. I put Ashley's things in storage. Unit 4B, climate controlled. Details." Priya waved a fork. "She's good at this, Kara. The victim act. She's been practicing it since your dad died." Kara ate her spring roll and said nothing. She'd known this was coming. Diane's first move after any setback was always the same. Call everyone, cry a little, frame herself as the wronged party. By the end of the day, half of Dallas society would think Kara was a monster. Her phone buzzed again. A number she didn't recognize. She almost ignored it, then answered. "Kara, it's Trevor." "Trevor Hayes." She set down her chopsticks. "Trevor, I didn't know you had my number. Ashley gave it to me. Look, I know this is a sensitive situation, and I don't want to overstep." "Then don't." A pause. "I just think there's a reasonable solution here. Ashley needs a place to live. You have a 4-bedroom penthouse you barely use. Maybe we could work out some kind of arrangement. I'd be happy to cover any expenses." "Trevor," Kara's voice was calm, "are you offering to pay rent for a unit in a building you don't own? To live in a home that isn't yours? After your fiancé and her mother broke in and tried to move my furniture out?" Another pause, longer this time. "When you put it that way, don't call me again." She hung up. Priya was watching her with an expression that was half admiration, half concern. "You know he's going to tell Ashley you were unreasonable. Let him." Kara spent the afternoon in the management office, going through building records. She had a suspicion, and she wanted it confirmed. She pulled the operating account statements for the past 12 months and started reading. There it was. In March, a charge to Neiman Marcus, $4,800. In April, a private car service, $2,200. In May, a florist on Oak Lawn, $2,600. In June, a country club membership fee, $12,000. All charged to the building's operating account. All coded as building services or resident relations. She called Marcus. "Can you come down to the office? I need to ask you about some charges." He was there in 5 minutes. She spread the statements across the desk. "Do you know what these are?" Marcus looked at them. His jaw tightened. "Mrs. Whitfield, Diane. She started putting personal expenses on the building account about 3 years ago. Your dad was still alive. He knew. He told me to let it go. Said it was cheaper than the fights. 3 years. She'd call the front desk, have the concierge run her errands, charge everything to the building. I brought it up to your dad twice. Both times he said the same thing. Let it go, Marcus. It's not worth it." He paused. "After he died, it got worse. She started using the account for bigger things. I didn't know what to do. You never said anything, and I assumed. You assumed I knew. I assumed you were letting it go. Like your dad did." Kara stared at the statements. 12 months. Over $30,000 in personal expenses. And that was just the last year. If it had been going on for 3 years, she picked up the phone and called Priya. "I need you to pull every operating account statement for Meridian Towers going back 3 years. And I need you to tell me what my options are." Priya came back 2 days later with a stack of documents and a look on her face that said she'd rather be anywhere else. They met in Kara's office, the door closed, the blinds drawn. Priya spread the will across the desk, not the original, which was in a safety deposit box, but a certified copy. "Here's what you have. Harold Whitfield, last will and testament dated 14 months before his death. Witnessed by his attorney and his personal assistant. Notarized. Ironclad." She pointed to a paragraph halfway down. "Meridian Towers. All real property. All associated assets. 100% to Caroline Whitfield. No conditions. No trusts. Direct transfer. And Diane? $500,000 in a trust. Monthly disbursements. The family house on Turtle Creek Boulevard. The cars. The jewelry. And a clause that says if she contests the will, she forfeits the trust." Priya looked up. "She knows this, Kara. Her attorney would have told her. If she files a contest, she loses the $500,000. Then why is she threatening to contest? Because she thinks you'll blink. She thinks you'd rather give her the penthouse than have a public fight." Priya leaned forward, and up until Tuesday she was right. Kara looked at the will. Her father's signature was at the bottom, bold, slightly slanted, the same signature she'd seen on birthday cards and report cards and the building's incorporation papers. He'd known exactly what he was doing. What about Ashley? 250,000. Direct bequest. No conditions. She got hers. Priya paused. Have you talked to her since Tuesday? No, she texted once. Said I ruined her life. She's 28. Everything feels like the end of the world when you're 28. Kara almost smiled. Almost. That evening, she called a building-wide meeting for the staff. Concierge, valet, maintenance, housekeeping. She stood in the community room on the 3rd floor and told them, plainly, that she was the owner of Meridian Towers. That Diane Whitfield was not. That from that moment on, no personal services, no personal charges, no favors for Diane or Ashley would be authorized. If she calls and asks for a car, you tell her to call Uber. If she shows up and asks for a package to be held, you tell her no. If she tries to use the gym or the pool, you check the resident list. She's not on it. Kara looked around the room. I know this is awkward. I know some of you have worked here for years, and you're used to how things were. But things are different now, and I need you to respect that. Marcus stood at the back, nodding. The staff murmured their assent. No one argued. The fight came that weekend. Diane showed up at the Penthouse at 11 on Saturday morning, banging on the door. Kara opened it. Diane was wearing a navy dress and pearls, her hair perfect. Her face set in the expression she used for PTA meetings and country club disputes. The one that said, I am reasonable, and you are being unreasonable. We need to talk, Diane said, pushing past Kara into the foyer. Kara closed the door. We have nothing to talk about. I am your mother. I have given you everything, and this is how you repay me? Locking me out of my own building? Telling the staff not to speak to me? Do you have any idea how humiliating that is? It's not your building, Mom. It was your father's. It was our family's. Dad left it to me. In writing. You know that. You've known it for 2 years. Kara's voice was steady. You just decided it didn't count because you didn't like it. Diane's face did that thing. The slight tremor of the lower lip, the glistening of the eyes, the performance of grief that Kara had seen 100 times. After your father died, I had nothing. Nothing. You had this building, this penthouse, and I had a house I couldn't afford to keep up, and a trust that barely covers the bills. You think I wanted to be in this position? You think I wanted to beg my own daughter for a roof over my head? You're not begging. You're demanding, and you're using Ashley as an excuse. Kara took a step closer. I know about the operating account, Mom. I know about the Neiman Marcus charges and the car service and the country club membership. I know you've been stealing from this building for 3 years. The performance stopped. Diane's face went very still. Your father let me. Dad is dead, and he's not here to let you do anything anymore. Kara opened the front door. I'm going to say this once. You will not contest the will. You will not come to this building again without an invitation. And you will stop telling people I stole anything from you, because the only person who's been stealing is you. Diane stood in the doorway, her mouth open. For a second, Kara thought she might scream. Then she turned and walked to the elevator without a word. Kara closed the door and leaned against it. Her hands were shaking. She'd never spoken to her mother like that. Never. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Ashley, this time. I'm outside your office building. Can I come up? I have nowhere else to go. Kara stared at the message. She thought about Priya's warning. She thought about her father's letters, still unopened in the safe. She thought about Ashley, 28 years old, engaged to a man who was using her, with a mother who was using her more. She typed back, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Ashley was sitting on the bench outside Kara's office building, her legs pulled up under her, a single suitcase at her feet. She looked smaller than Kara remembered, not physically, but the way people look when they've stopped performing. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt. Trevor kicked me out, she said, without preamble, when Kara pulled up. Said he couldn't be with someone whose family is this unstable, as if his family isn't a walking episode of Dallas. Kara didn't say anything. She unlocked the building and led Ashley up to the office. They sat in the break room. Kara made coffee. Ashley drank hers black, which Kara hadn't known she did. I don't have any money, Ashley said, staring into her cup. The wedding deposits are non-refundable. The apartment lease is up. Mom said I could stay with her, but her house is a disaster, and I can't be around her right now. She keeps saying this is all your fault, and I know it's not. But she's my mom, and I don't know. She stopped. Her shoulders shook. I don't know what to do. Kara watched her. She thought about the blueprint in her head. Priya's voice saying, don't do it. She's not your responsibility. She thought about the boxes in storage, the scratched floorboard, the way Ashley had stood in her living room directing movers like she owned the place. And then she thought, she's my sister. There's a guest suite on the 29th floor, Kara said. It's furnished. It's been empty since the last tenant moved out. You can stay there for 2 weeks, no more. While you figure things out, Ashley looked up. Her eyes were red. Really? Really? But there are rules. No, Trevor. No, Mom. No using the building services for personal stuff. And you stay out of the penthouse. Okay. Ashley nodded quickly. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kara. Kara called Marcus and had him set up the guest suite. She gave Ashley a temporary key fob and told her the Wi-Fi password. She didn't hug her. She didn't say it would be okay. She just handed her the key and said 2 weeks. Priya called that night. When Kara told her, there was a long silence. You're making a mistake. She's my sister. Your sister helped your mother break into your home. Your sister was going to move into your bedroom while you were at work. Priya's voice was sharp. This isn't a rescue dog. Kara, this is a person who has shown you exactly who she is. People can change. People can also pretend to change while they look for your safe combination. Kara didn't answer. She knew Priya was right. She also knew she couldn't live with herself if she turned Ashley away. The first week was fine. Ashley kept to herself. She used the gym. She ordered takeout. She spent hours on her laptop applying for jobs. Kara saw her once in the elevator, and they exchanged small talk. It was awkward, but civil. The second week, things shifted. Kara came home from a dinner meeting on Wednesday and found the penthouse door unlocked. She pushed it open, heart pounding, and found Ashley in the kitchen, pouring a glass of wine. Sorry, Ashley said, not sounding sorry. I locked myself out of the suite. Marcus let me up here to wait. I hope you don't mind. I mind. I told you to stay out of the penthouse. It's not a big deal. I was just... Ashley. Kara's voice was cold. Out. Ashley set down the wine glass and left. But the incident nagged at Kara. Marcus wouldn't have let anyone into the penthouse without her permission. She called him the next morning. Did you let Ashley into the penthouse last night? A pause. She said you'd texted her and said it was fine. She showed me a text. Kara's stomach dropped. What did the text say? Let Ashley up to the penthouse. I'm on my way. It looked like it came from your number. It hadn't. Kara had sent no such text. She checked her phone. No outgoing message to Marcus. Ashley had faked it, or Trevor had. She went straight to her home office. The desk drawers were all open. Her file cabinet, the one with the building's financial records, the lease agreements, the insurance policies, was unlocked. She always locked it. Always. Someone had been going through her papers. She called Priya. I need you to come over now. While she waited, she inventoried the office. Most of the files were still there, but the folder labeled Harold Personal was gone. The folder that contained her father's letters, the ones she hadn't had the courage to read yet. Priya arrived 20 minutes later. Kara told her everything, the fake text, the unlocked office, the missing folder. She was looking for the will, Priya said, or something that could undermine it. Your dad's personal letters, medical records, anything. Or she was looking for something to use against me. Kara sat down heavily. I was wrong about her. I thought she was just lost. I thought if I gave her a place to stay, she's her mother's daughter, Kara. Priya's voice was gentler now. That doesn't mean she's evil. It means she's been trained. And right now, she's still taking orders from Diane. Kara thought about Ashley in the break room, crying about Trevor, about having nowhere to go. Had any of it been real? Or had it all been a performance? Designed to get her inside the building, inside the penthouse, inside the office. She didn't know, and not knowing was worse than knowing. Her phone buzzed. A text from a number she didn't recognize, but she knew who it was. We found what we were looking for. You should have settled while you could. At D. Kara didn't sleep that night. She sat in the penthouse living room with all the lights on, staring at the empty space on her bookshelf where the Harold Personal folder used to be, and she ran through every possibility. Diane had it. Diane had sent Ashley in as a Trojan horse, and Ashley had taken the folder, or Ashley had taken it on her own, or Trevor had orchestrated the whole thing. It didn't matter who had held the folder. What mattered was that Diane now had her father's personal letters, and she was threatening to use them. At 6 in the morning, Kara called Marcus. I need you to check the security footage from last night. The 29th floor, the penthouse floor, the service elevator. I need to know everywhere Ashley went. I already pulled it, Marcus said. She left the guest suite at 9:15, took the service elevator to 32, let herself into the penthouse. She had a key. I only gave her a fob for the 29th. She must have made a copy. Or someone gave her one. Marcus paused. She was in the penthouse for 40 minutes. Then she left, went down to the lobby and got into a black SUV. Trevor Hayes was driving. Kara closed her eyes. Of course, Trevor. He'd been in the building, in her home. While she was at dinner, she called Priya. Then she called a private investigator, a man Priya had worked with before, named Cole, who specialized in white-collar and family cases. She told him everything. Find out what Diane is planning. Find out who Trevor is talking to. And find me a copy of those letters, Harold's letters. I don't care how. Cole said he'd start immediately. Kara spent the day in the management office, going through backup files. She'd digitized most of the building's records, but Harold's personal folder had been the one thing she'd kept only on paper. She'd thought it was safer that way. She'd been wrong. At 4, Cole called. I've got something. Your sister, Ashley. She met with Trevor at a Starbucks on Lemon Avenue this morning. They were there for an hour. Then Trevor went to an office building on Cedar Springs. 3rd floor, a company called Meridian Property Group. Meridian Property Group? They're a developer. They buy up multifamily properties in Uptown and Turtle Creek, tear them down, build luxury high-rises. They've been trying to get their hands on the Meridian Towers site for years. Cole paused. Your father turned them down twice. Once in 2019, once in 2021. They offered him $45 million both times. $45 million. Kara knew the building was worth more now. Dallas real estate estate had boomed since the pandemic, but the number still made her stomach clench. Trevor is working with them? Looks like it. He's not an employee, but he's got a relationship with their VP of acquisitions, a guy named Paul Renner. They've met 4 times in the last month. Kara thought about Trevor's phone call, the reasonable solution, the offer to cover expenses. He hadn't been trying to mediate. He'd been trying to get access, to get Ashley in the door, to get the letters. And the letters? I can't get those yet. But I found something else. Your father, Harold. He had a safe deposit box at the Comerica on Oak Lawn. Box 1447. I checked the access logs. It was last opened the week before he died. By him, Kara's breath caught. Is it still active? Active and current. The annual fee was paid out of his estate, and the only person with access, according to the bank records, is you. She was at the bank within the hour. The safe deposit box vault was in the basement, windowless, the air cold and dry. A bank employee led her to a private viewing room and left her alone with the box. Inside, there were 3 things. A stack of letters, tied with a rubber band. Each one was addressed to her in her father's handwriting. The earliest was dated 5 years before his death. The latest was dated 2 weeks before he died. A USB drive, labeled, "For Kara, watch alone," and a manila folder, labeled, "Diane, operating account." Kara opened the Diane folder first. Inside were bank statements, receipts, and a handwritten ledger in Harold's careful handwriting. 3 years of personal expenses charged to the building. Neiman Marcus, the country club, private jets, a vacation home in Santa Fe that Kara had never heard of. The total was over $200,000. Harold had known. He'd documented everything, and he'd never said a word. She put the ledger down and picked up the letters. The last one, 2 weeks before he died, was the thinnest. She opened it. Kara, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and your mother has probably already tried to take the building from you. I'm sorry. I should have handled this while I was alive. I should have told her to her face that the building is yours. But I was weak where she was concerned, and I made you pay for it. The building is yours because you're the only one who will protect it. Your mother would sell it to the first developer who flashed a number. Ashley doesn't have the first idea how to run a building. You do. You always have. Don't let her make you feel guilty for owning what's yours. Don't let her tell you I gave it to you out of anger. I gave it to you because I believed in you. I always believed in you. Love Dad. Kara read it 3 times. Then she put it down and picked up the USB drive. She didn't watch it yet. She wasn't ready. She called Priya. I have the evidence. All of it. The embezzlement, the letters, everything. Good, because Diane just filed. Her attorney served the petition an hour ago. She's contesting the will, claiming Harold was mentally incompetent when he signed it. Kara looked at the letters on the table, at her father's handwriting, at the ledger documenting 3 years of theft. Let her contest, she said. I've been waiting 2 years to use what I've got. The lawsuit was filed on a Thursday. By Friday morning, it was on the business page of the Dallas Morning News. By Friday afternoon, it was on every real estate gossip blog in Texas. Whitfield family feud. Widow contest will. Claims. Late husband was incompetent. Kara read the headline at her desk and felt the building, her building, shift beneath her. Not physically, but she could feel it in the emails, in the phone calls, in the way the concierge looked at her when she walked through the lobby. The first resident call came at 9. A woman on the 14th floor, worried about property value instability. The second came at 9:30. A man on the 20th, asking if the building was going to be sold. By noon, there were 14 messages. Marcus handled most of them. He stood at the front desk and told every resident who asked the same thing. The building is not for sale. The ownership is not in dispute. This is a family legal matter that will be resolved quickly. He said it calmly, confidently, like he believed it. Kara wasn't sure she did. The insurance company called at 1. They'd seen the lawsuit. They wanted to review the policy and assess potential liability. Kara's insurance agent, woman named Janet who'd been with the building since Harold built it, sounded genuinely worried. If there's a question about ownership, Kara, the policy could be voided. We need a letter from your attorney confirming the will is valid. And we need it fast. Priya was already on it. But she'd also had to bring in co-counsel, a litigation partner named David Kim, who specialized in estate contests. I can't be your lead attorney on this, Priya had told her, the night the lawsuit was filed. I'm your best friend. Diane's attorney will argue I'm biased, that I've got a personal stake. David is good. He's expensive, but he's good. And I'll be right beside him the whole time. Kara had agreed. But it felt like another loss. Another person who had to step back because of Diane. The worst moment came on Wednesday. Diane did an interview with a local lifestyle blogger, a woman who ran a site called Dallas Social Diaries. The headline was, "Exclusive. Diane Whitfield speaks out about being locked out of her late husband's building." Kara read it in her office, alone, at 7 in the evening. Diane was quoted extensively. She talked about being a devoted wife for 34 years. She talked about Kara being a difficult child who'd always resented her mother. She talked about the building being Harold's legacy and how it broke her heart to see it. Hoarded by one daughter while the other is homeless. She didn't didn't mention the embezzlement. She didn't mention the forged text. She didn't mention that Ashley had been given a guest suite and had abused it. The comments were brutal. How can a daughter do this to her own mother? Gold digger daughter. I'd be ashamed to show my face in Dallas. Someone had found Kara's LinkedIn and posted it in the comments. Kara closed the laptop. She sat in the dark office and listened to the building hum around her. The HVAC, the distant elevator, the faint sound of a resident's TV through the wall. She thought about her father. She thought about the letters in the safe. She thought about the USB drive she still hadn't watched. Her phone rang. Ashley. Kara almost didn't answer. She did. Hello? Kara? Ashley's voice was raw. I saw the article. Mom's interview. I didn't know she was going to do that. I swear I didn't. She called me this morning and told me not to talk to you. She said if I talked to you, she'd cut me off. Ashley paused. I haven't talked to her in 3 days. I moved out of the guest suite. I'm staying with a friend from college in Fort Worth. Kara said nothing. I know you don't trust me. And I get it. I deserve it. But I'm not her, Kara. I don't want to be her. Ashley's voice cracked. I just needed somewhere to go. And I thought if I did what she said, she'd take care of me. But she doesn't take care of anyone but herself. Where are you, Ashley? Fort Worth, I told you. My friend Lauren's couch. Are you safe? A pause. Yeah, I'm safe. Okay. Kara didn't know what else to say. Call me if you need anything. She hung up. She sat there for another hour. Then she went home to the penthouse, poured herself a glass of whiskey, and finally plugged the USB drive into her laptop. The video opened with her father's face. He was thinner than she remembered. This was near the end, when the cancer was taking him. But his eyes were sharp, his voice clear. Kara, if you're watching this, things have gotten bad. Your mother has probably filed a lawsuit, and you're probably sitting in that penthouse feeling like the whole world is against you. He smiled, a faint, tired smile. I need you to know something. I knew your mother was taking money from the building. I knew for 3 years. I didn't stop her because I was a coward. Because confronting her would have meant confronting the fact that our marriage was dead, and I wasn't strong enough to do that. He paused, looked down, looked back up. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to make the same mistake. Don't protect her. Don't protect the family image. Protect the building. Protect yourself. And when this is over, and it will be over, don't carry the anger. I carried it for 30 years, and it almost killed me before the cancer did. The video ended. Kara closed the laptop. She finished the whiskey. She went to bed. The next morning, Cole the investigator called. I got photos. Diane met with Paul Renner from Meridian Property Group last night at a restaurant in Highland Park. They were there for 2 hours. She showed him a folder. I couldn't see what was in it, but it was my father's letters, Kara said. She's trying to sell them the building. Looks like it. Renner was very interested. Kara looked out her office window at the Dallas skyline. The building hummed around her. 40 units. 40 families. Her father's legacy. Okay, she said. Now I fight back. Kara started with the evidence. She met David Kim and Priya at David's office on a Monday morning. The safe deposit box contents spread across the conference table. The ledger, the bank statements, the letters, the USB drive. David went through everything, taking notes, his expression unreadable. This is good, he said when he was done. The embezzlement evidence is solid. The letters establish Harold's mental state. He was lucid, deliberate. He knew exactly what he was doing. The video is powerful, but we should hold it. Save it for trial if we need it. What about the letters Diane has? The ones she stole from the penthouse? David shrugged. She can't use stolen documents in court. If she tries to introduce them, we object on chain of custody. She'd have to explain how she got them, which means admitting she broke into your home. She won't do that, so what do? We offer her a deal. David leaned back in his chair. She drops the lawsuit. She signs a quitclaim acknowledging she has no interest in Meridian Towers. She returns the stolen letters. In exchange, you don't pursue criminal charges for the embezzlement or the breaking and entering, and you agree to keep the trust fund in place. The $500 a month. That's it? That's it. She gets to keep her money and her freedom. You get the building and the peace. David looked at her. It's a good deal, Kara, but it only works if she's rational. And from what you've told me, your mother is not a rational woman when her pride is involved. He was right. Kara called Diane that afternoon and laid out the offer. Diane laughed. You think I'm going to roll over because you found some old receipts? Your father let me spend that money. It was a gift. And as for the lawsuit, my attorney says we've got a strong case. Harold was on pain medication, Kara. He was confused. He didn't know what he was signing. He was lucid enough to keep a detailed ledger of your spending for 3 years. Silence. Then quieter. You don't have the stomach for a fight, Kara. You never have. You'll settle. You always settle. Diane hung up. Kara set the phone down and thought about her father's voice on the video. Don't protect her. Don't protect the family image. She called Cole. I need you to find Trevor. Hayes. I need to know everything about his deal with Meridian Property Group. And I need Ashley's number. The new one. Had both within an hour. Kara called Ashley. She answered on the second ring. Kara, is everything okay? I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Kara paused. Did Trevor know about the building before you two got engaged? A long silence. He asked about it. Once. He said he'd we'd heard my family owned real estate in Uptown. I told him Mom managed it. I didn't know you owned it, Kara. I swear. Did he ever ask you to get documents from the Penthouse? From my office? Ashley's voice was small. He asked me to look for a will. An older one. He said if there was an earlier will that left everything to Mom, then Mom would take care of us. He said it would be good for the family. She stopped. I didn't do it. I looked, but I couldn't. That's why Mom had to do it herself. That's why she sent me in there with the fake text. I'm sorry, Kara. I'm so sorry. Kara closed her eyes. Ashley, I need you to do something for me. I need you to tell Trevor you want to get back together. I need you to meet with him. And I need you to wear a wire. What? A wire. A recording device. I need him to admit that he's been working with Meridian Property Group, that he knew about the building, that he was using you to get access. Kara's voice was steady. If you do this, I won't press charges against you for the break-in. And I'll help you. For real. Not a guest suite for 2 weeks. Real help. Ashley was quiet for a long time. Then, okay, I'll do it. The meeting happened 3 days later, at a restaurant in Fort Worth. Ashley wore a small recording device in her purse. Trevor showed up with flowers and an apology and a story about how he'd been under pressure and he loved her. And then, over dessert, he said it. Once your mom gets the building sorted out, Meridian Property Group is going to make an offer. A good one. We'll be set for life, Ash. Your mom gets her money, we get our cut. Everyone wins. Even Kara? Ashley asked. Trevor laughed. Kara doesn't matter. She's just in the way. The recording was clear. David Kim filed it with the court the next day, along with a motion to dismiss Diane's lawsuit for fraud and collusion. Diane's attorney called that afternoon. He wanted to talk settlement. Kara smiled. She was done settling. The settlement meeting was at David Kim's office. On a Tuesday morning, Kara sat at one end of the conference table with David and Priya. Diane sat at the other, and with her attorney, a silver-haired man named Arthur Price, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Diane was composed. Too composed. She wore a cream suit and pearl earrings, her hair in a chignon, and she watched Kara with an expression that was almost serene. It made Kara's skin crawl. Arthur Price did the talking. My client is willing to drop the lawsuit. She's willing to sign a quitclaim. She's even willing to return the letters she acquired. In exchange, she wants the trust fund increased to $1 million. And she wants the right to live in the family home mortgage-free for life. David laughed. That's not a settlement. That's a ransom demand. Then perhaps we should let the court decide. Arthur opened a folder. My client has located a later will, dated 3 days before Harold's death. In this will, Harold revokes all previous wills and leaves his entire estate, including Meridian Towers, to Diane Whitfield. The room went quiet. Kara felt Priya go rigid beside her. A later will, David said flatly, dated 3 days before death. Witnessed by 2 people. Notarized. Arthur slid a copy across the table. My client was going to save it for trial, but she's willing to use it now if necessary. Kara picked up the copy. The signature at the bottom looked like her father's. Almost, but there was something off. The slope was wrong, the pressure inconsistent. Her father signed his name with a sharp, decisive stroke. This signature was hesitant, like someone was copying it. David was examining the witness names. Marge Holloway, Tom Riggs. Who are these people? Friends of my client, Arthur said. They were present when Harold signed the will, 3 days before he died, when he was on hospice, when he was barely conscious. David's voice was cold. This will is a forgery, Arthur, and you know it. We'll let the court decide that, too. The meeting ended without a settlement. Kara walked out to the parking garage with David and Priya. He's bluffing, Priya said. The will is fake. No court in Texas would uphold a will signed by a hospice patient with 2 witnesses nobody's ever heard of. Maybe not, David said, but it buys him time, and time costs money. Diane knows that. She's hoping Kara gets tired of paying legal bills and settles. Kara thought about her father's video, about the ledger, about Ashley's recording. She thought about Diane, sitting in that conference room, serene as a lake, holding a forged will like it was a royal flush. I need to prove it's fake, she said, and I need to do it fast. They brought in a handwriting expert. She compared the new will's signature to 50 of Harold's known signatures, on contracts, letters, birthday cards, the original will. Her report came back in 5 days. The signature on the new will does not match the known exemplars of Harold Whitfield's signature. The letter formations are inconsistent. The pressure pattern is inconsistent. The signature was almost certainly traced or copied by a non-left-handed person. Harold Whitfield was left-handed. Left-handed. Kara had forgotten. Her father was left-handed. The signature on the new will had the slant of a right-handed person, but handwriting analysis alone wasn't enough. They needed something more. Something that would destroy Diane's credibility completely. Trevor gave it to them. After the recording, Trevor had been quiet. Then, 3 days after the settlement meeting, he called Kara directly. I'll testify, he said. No preamble. I'll tell the court everything. The meetings with Meridian Property Group. The plan to get the building. The will. Diane told me about it. She said she had a backup plan if the lawsuit didn't work. She said she had a friend who could make documents look real. Why are you doing this? Kara asked. Because Ashley won't talk to me. Because my father found out about the Meridian deal and cut me off. Because I'm 30 years old and I just realized I've been an asshole. He paused. And because Diane threw me under the bus. She told her attorney I forged the will. I didn't, but she's going to let me take the fall for it. Kara believed him. Not because he was trustworthy. He wasn't. But because people like Trevor always talked when it stopped being profitable. David filed the handwriting report and Trevor's sworn statement with the court. Arthur Mr. Price called that evening. His voice was different now, tight, strained. We'd like to revisit the settlement. On your terms. Kara looked at Priya. Priya nodded. Tell him we'll meet tomorrow, Kara said. But this time the offer is worse. No trust fund increase. No mortgage-free house. She drops the lawsuit, signs the quitclaim, returns the letters, and gives a sworn statement admitting the will is forged. That's the deal. Take it or leave it. Diane took it. She signed everything in David's office 2 days later, her hand shaking so badly she could barely hold the pen. She didn't look at Kara once. As she was leaving, she stopped in the doorway. She didn't turn around. Your father never wanted you to have this building, she said, her voice low. He gave it to you because I was sleeping with someone else and he found out. He gave it to you to punish me. You were never his first choice, Kara. You were his revenge. She walked out. The door closed behind her. Kara stood in the conference room, and for a moment, the ground felt unsteady. Diane's words followed Kara home. She tried to ignore them. She told herself it was a parting shot, the last weapon of a defeated woman. She told herself her father's letters said otherwise, that he'd believed in her, that he'd chosen her deliberately, but the seed was planted, and seeds once planted grow. She went back to the safe deposit box that night. She took out every letter, spread them across her bed, and read them all. Every single one. 5 years of her father's handwriting, his thoughts, his fears, his love. And in the third letter, the one dated 4 years before his death, the one she'd skipped because it was thin and looked like a note. Not a letter. She found it. Kara, I know you think I'm hard on you. I know you think I expect too much. But it's because I see something in you that you don't see in yourself. You have your mother's charm and my stubbornness, and that combination is going to take you anywhere you want to go. Your mother will never understand this building. She sees it as a status symbol, a place to entertain, a name to drop. But you see it for what it is, a home for 40 families, a business, a responsibility. And that's why, when I'm gone, it will be yours. Not because I'm angry at your mother. Not because I'm punishing anyone. Because you're the only one who will take care of it. I love you, kiddo. I'm proud of you. Always have been. Dad. Kara sat on her bed, surrounded by letters, and cried. Not the quiet, controlled crying she usually did, the kind that comes out in gasps, that shakes your shoulders, that leaves you breathless. She cried for the father she'd lost, for the mother who'd never been able to love her properly, for the 32 years she'd spent wondering if she was good enough. When she was done, she called Ashley. I want you to come over to the penthouse tomorrow. I want to talk, both of us. And I want Mom there too. Ashley was quiet. Are you sure? I'm sure. I'll call her. But Kara, she might not come. She'll come. Diane came. She showed up at 2 in the afternoon, wearing the same cream suit from the settlement meeting, her face a mask of polite hostility. Ashley came 10 minutes later, in jeans and a t-shirt, her hair wet from the rain. They sat in the penthouse living room, Kara on the sofa, Diane in an armchair, Ashley on the floor by the window. The Dallas skyline was gray behind them, a storm rolling in. I'm not here to fight, Kara said. I'm here to show you something. She turned on the television. She plugged in the USB drive. She pressed play. Harold's face filled the screen. Diane's composure cracked, just for a second, when she saw him. Ashley leaned forward, her eyes wide. Kara, if you're watching this, things have gotten bad. He talked for 12 minutes. About the building, about Diane's spending, about his own cowardice, about why he'd chosen Kara, and then, in the last 2 minutes, he looked directly into the camera and spoke to each of them. Diane, I know you're angry. I know you feel like I left you with nothing, but you had 34 years of a life most women would kill for, and you spent it wanting more. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to make you happy, but the building was never going to make you happy. Nothing was. That's not my fault. It's yours. Diane's mouth tightened. She didn't look away. Ashley, you're a good kid. You've just been listening to the wrong person. Stop waiting for someone to give you a life. Go build one. You're smarter than you think. Ashley wiped her eyes. And Kara, my girl, you've spent your whole life trying to earn my approval, and your mother's and everyone else's. Stop. You don't need to earn anything. The building is yours because you earned it. You earned it by being you. Now go live in it. Not in spite of anyone. Because you deserve to. The video ended. The room was quiet except for the rain on the windows. Diane was the first to speak. Her voice was barely a whisper. He never said any of that to me. In 34 years, he never once... She stopped. Her composure was gone. The cream suit, the pearls, the chignon, none of it could hide the woman underneath. The woman who'd spent 34 years married to a man who'd never really seen her, and who'd responded by taking everything she could. I forged the will, she said. I paid a woman at the country club to witness it. Tom Riggs is her boyfriend. I stole the letters from Kara's office. I've been taking money from the building for 3 years. I called everyone I know and told them Kara was a monster. I did all of it. She looked at Kara. Because if I couldn't have the building, at least I could make you feel bad for having it. Ashley stood up. Mom, stop. No, let her finish. Kara's voice was calm. I want to hear it. There's nothing else. Diane said. That's all of it. I'm a terrible mother. I'm a terrible person. You want to call the police? Call them. I don't care anymore. Kara looked at her. She thought about the forged will, the stolen letters, the embezzlement, the gossip interview, the years of manipulation. She thought about the evidence David had, enough to put Diane in jail for forgery and fraud, and she thought about her father's voice. When this is over, don't carry the anger. I'm not calling the police, Kara said. But you will sign the settlement. You already did. You will stay away from this building, and you will get help. Real help. A therapist, a financial counselor, something. Diane stared at her. Why? Because you're my mother. And because putting you in prison wouldn't fix anything. It would just be another thing this family did to itself. Kara paused. But if you ever come after this building again, if you ever use Ashley, or lie, or forge, or steal, I won't hesitate. Next time I call the police. Diane nodded. She stood up. She walked to the door. She didn't say goodbye. Ashley stayed. She sat on the sofa next to Kara, and they watched the rain together. Thank you, Ashley said. For what? For not being her. Kara didn't answer. She put her arm around her sister, and they sat there while the storm passed over Dallas. 6 months later, the jasmine was blooming on the Penthouse terrace. Kara stood at the railing with a cup of coffee, watching the sun come up over downtown Dallas. The sky was that pale Texas blue that happens in early March, before the heat sets in and the city below was just waking up. Cars on the tollway, lights going off in office towers, a lone jogger on the Katy Trail. Meridian Towers was fine. Better than fine. The lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. Property values had actually gone up. The Whitfield family feud had given the building a kind of notoriety, and the 2 units that came on the market that winter had sold above asking. Kara had replaced the building's management software, renovated the lobby, and started a monthly resident dinner in the community room. 40 families, her father's legacy. She was taking care of it. Diane had moved to a condo in Lake Highlands, a nice enough place, but a world away from Turtle Creek and the country club. She was seeing a therapist once a week. She and Kara talked on the phone maybe once a month. The conversations were short, polite, and carefully shallow. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was something. Ashley was the surprise. She'd gotten a job at an event planning firm in Deep Ellum. Entry-level, long hours, minimum wage plus tips. She'd moved into a small apartment in Oak Lawn, above a record store. She'd broken up with Trevor for good. He'd moved to Houston, according to the gossip columns. She was dating a graphic designer named Lena, who made her laugh. She was, for the first time in Kara's memory, building a life that was entirely hers. The scholarship fund had launched in January. The Harold Whitfield First Generation Scholarship. $5,000 a year, renewable, for students at UNT Dallas. Kara had funded it personally. The first recipient was a young woman named Maria Gonzalez, studying real estate, who wanted to build affordable housing in Oak Cliff. Kara had lunch with her in February. Maria reminded her of her father, the same hungry eyes, the same way of looking at a building and seeing not just walls but possibility. The intercom buzzed. Kara looked at the screen. Ashley was in the lobby, holding something. Come on up, Kara said. She met her at the door. Ashley was holding a potted jasmine plant, the same kind that grew on the terrace, and a card. Happy birthday, Ashley said. I know it's not until next week, but I'm going to be out of town for a work thing, and I wanted to... You remembered my birthday. Ashley looked slightly offended. Of course I remembered your birthday. I'm your sister. Kara took the plant and the card. She set the plant on the terrace next to the others and opened the card. Inside, in Ashley's messy handwriting, thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave you every reason to. I'm proud of you. I should have said it a long time ago. Akara read it twice. Then she looked up at Ashley, who was standing in the penthouse doorway like she wasn't sure she was allowed to come in. Come in, Kara said. I'll make coffee. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table that had been nearly carried out by movers 6 months ago, and drank coffee and talked about nothing. Ashley's job, Lena, the jasmine plant, the weather, the kind of conversation people have when they're learning how to be family without a script. When Ashley left, Kara stood at the window and watched her walk across the parking lot to her car, a beat-up Honda Civic with a Deep Ellum sticker on the back. She got in, waved, and drove away. Kara picked up the card and read it one more time. Then she put it in the desk drawer, next to her father's letters, and closed the drawer. The building hummed around her. The HVAC, the elevator. Somewhere, a resident's TV. The sounds of 40 families living their lives in the building her father had built. The building that was now hers. She thought about her father's voice on the video. Now go live in it. Not in spite of anyone. Because you deserve to. She picked up her phone and called Marcus. Hey, I'm thinking about repainting the lobby. What do you think about a warm gray? Not too cold. Something that feels like home. Marcus laughed. I'll get some samples. Kara hung up. She walked out to the terrace, breathed in the jasmine, and looked out at the city she owned a piece of. Not all of it. Just one building, 32 stories, 40 families, one penthouse enough.